Well, as we approach the 12-month anniversary of the Albanese Labor government, Newspoll reports that the Prime Minister's satisfaction rating has dropped markedly. Now, this would typically be good news for the opposition, except Peter Dutton's satisfaction rating, such as it is, has also dropped. And so now we're in the unique position where neither the Prime Minister nor the opposition leader are able to excite much of the public beyond their own immediate families, and even they are rumoured to have some doubts. The two-party preferred numbers have remained pretty much the same. The Labor Party is on 56% and the Coalition on 44%. But if you look at leader satisfaction, Anthony Albanese is down 5 points to a net rating of +16. Peter Dutton is down 6 points to a -19 rating. Peter Dutton was asked last week why it was that voters weren't warming to him.
Hey, why do you reckon voters are turning against you?
Look, I think the polling was taken over a period where we had a resignation from the front bench, and the public, rightly never awards what they perceive as disunity within the party. But we've got a big rebuild to do. We're in the first 12 months of a government that's in its honeymoon.
So, Caleb, the Prime Minister's not popular, the opposition leader's not popular. What's going on with Australian politics right now?
I mean, look, we're only 11 months into this government. I think, to be honest, reading into polls at this point is a bit of a crapshoot. I mean, you were always going to have what you might call a honeymoon period for the government, and I think the government, to some degree, is still in that. That will slowly wane as people realise that they're not going to get their $275 discount on their power bills. And then in about August, I think you'll have a shed load of people who come off of fixed rate interest loans, and all of a sudden they will be paying a lot more and feeling the pain that many people like me have been feeling when it comes to interest rates over the past few months. So I think there's a lot more to come for the government, and I wouldn't be particularly worried if I was the opposition at this point reading too far into this stuff. And I mean, it was obvious that Dutton was never going to be the ultimate salesman when it came to opposition leader, but I think he's proven himself in the last couple of weeks in particular to be doing a good job. He's setting some difference between the opposition and the government, and that's what we've been asking for ages. If you want to be an alternative government, you have to present something different, and they're doing that.
But it's only just started. I mean, this guy that we're seeing, this version of Dutton, I'm like, where have you been the last 10 months? We needed you. He's coming out now with some banger of lines. I'm enjoying it to the hilt. But polls like this, I think, are extremely unhelpful, and I don't think he should have given that journo. He took the bait there. Why are voters turning against you? Voters aren't turning against me. Most of these polls are utterly useless because what matters is why. Were the people polled that day? Most of them are only about a handful of people, relatively speaking, about 1,000 people. Were they just having a bad day? Maybe they've never liked you in the first place, so of course they're going to say approval ratings down. Yeah. But what the data that matters is why? And we don't have that. So then what we in the media do, and the politicians themselves, endlessly sit around navel-gazing, speculating, and at the end of the day, you still don't know why. So it just seems like an absolute waste of time. Not to mention, give it a few weeks, the polls will say something different. You
said Mr Dutton's come out with a few bangers recently. There was a great line in the Australian newspaper today where he had a go at business leaders for saying one thing in private but then publicly promoting diversity, equity and inclusion. It was reported in the Australian. He said it's time the business community step up and stop being played for fools by the Labor Party. My door's always open to business leaders and those who employ Australians, but too many business leaders say one thing in private and don't advocate it publicly. I love this Dutton with grunt, Caleb.
Indeed.
Who's getting out there and saying what needs to be said frankly and honestly.
Indeed, and he's dead right. And I don't know whether people realise this, and I'm glad that Dutton has actually said it, which is you end up in this situation where there are people in boardrooms who are advising these boards, right, who've only ever worked in big business, and they all just want to impress each other. These social roads that they keep going down, this social engineering, is not actually what's going on in the real world. It's what they've all told each other matters, and they're all trying to impress each other. It's total nonsense. I'm glad someone's finally stood up and said it.
Indeed.
Yes, let's keep this Dutton. Stay right where you are, Dutton. Keep those zingers coming.